as destiny would have it, that was the exact same book that my dad's mother, at her funeral, was used. So, before you leave, please keep the legacy going. So that book was used 75 years ago. So, if you're here, we would like to have that on record in our hearts and in our family. 72 years ago, a quiet, shy, humble, gentle man had just gotten out of the Air Force after a recent tour in French Morocco and South Africa. While he was in the service, both of his parents died. And when he got out, he had nowhere else to go. So he went back to his hometown of Sheldon Falls, Massachusetts. While he was there, he lived in a small room in a boarding house. Not many friends. And on a normal, regular day, this hungry former soldier wandered into a local diner called the Franklin Restaurant. And it was fate that day that it would be the first time that he would lay eyes on a cute 17-year-old girl who was about to start her senior year in high school, standing behind the counter. Over the next few visits, he made sure to always go to her area so that Connie would wait on him. And back then, even the restaurant owners, local restaurant owners, business owners, would leave 10, 15-cent tips. John always left Connie a quarter. Big tipper that day. But as it turned out, he also knew another girl that worked at that restaurant. Her name was Beverly Maynard, who happened to have access to a car. So John secretly worked it out with her to invite her one day after work to join them for a drive around Sheldon Falls. It was in the back seat of that car when this shy, humble, 22-year-old man summoned up the courage, despite his nervousness, to reach over and hold her hand. I know for a fact that that young lady was hoping that he would. And as they say, that's how it would be. They continued to hold hands for over 70 years of marriage. I also know it to be fact, because I was there, that she was still holding that same hand on the night and the very moment that he passed. He was not alone. Today we're all gathered here because that shy, brave man fell in love with a truly amazing young lady. And it's because of that we're here to celebrate the life and the legacy of John Joseph Delaney. What a lot of you don't know is he didn't have the greatest childhood. He bounced around from foster home to foster home for the first more than 8 years of his young life before he was finally adopted. But it was when he met Connie is when his life changed forever. Today you're going to hear a lot of things about him, and there are a number of us here in this room who are lucky enough to have his blood literally flowing through our veins. But that is not his legacy. His legacy is built upon the memories of him that we all share. So today we want you to get to know him better. And so we're going to hear a lot about him, but especially his incredible humor. So, in fact, we have two people here who have become family friends, who started out working, Yvette and Bob. Every single time that Bob took our father out to eat breakfast, lunch, whenever they would come back, my mom would always ask the same question: what did you have to eat? And his response was, food. Every single time. I would like to share a personal example of his incredible, masterful humor. So I remember as a little boy driving up the Mohawk Trail in western Massachusetts with my dad. And we were driving through a heavily wooded area. And with a straight face, he told me the story about an old Indian chief that had gotten lost in the woods many, many years ago. And he explained that that was why there were signs everywhere for people to keep an eye out for him. His name was Falling Rock. And so I did my best to obey those signs for the longest time. Everywhere I saw that sign, watch for Falling Rock, I had my eyes peeled because I wanted to make my father proud, to be the one to finally find that lost Indian chief. And so even now, every once in a while, I'll kind of glance up into the woods and I'll think of that story and how he told that to me. And now I kind of feel like my dad is standing next to that Indian chief, both of them snickering every time they see my face looking up into the woods. So those of you who may not know John as well as family, our goal by the end of today is that you would get to know him that much more and why he's such a special man.
I was thinking back about my memories of Dad, and I still remember all the time he spent with me when I was little. We would drive around, going to the YMCA, going to his judo lessons, going swimming, and he would take me fishing pretty often. Going to local ponds and rivers. I still remember the time when we were at the Greenfield River, when I was trying to cast a hooked lure, and I swung it back and caught Dad right on the seat of the pants. And, I think that might have been the last time he took me fishing. Probably just a coincidence. He was really good at spending time with us. I still remember a movie he took me to when I was 16, and I was astonished that I could still remember the name of the movie 56 years later. It was a terrible movie, but the father-son time was I think sometimes about what I inherited from him. I think I told I got his nose. I got his thunderous speeches. When I would sneeze at work and everybody around me would jump, I would tell them that they could thank my father for that, with a certain amount of pride. I inherited his nearsightedness along with most of the rest of us. I inherited his love of sweets and pastries. I still remember how he would go over to George and Angie's and she'd have a slice of pie or cake for him. We remember mostly days a week for a lot of his life, supporting this hedge. He started with Miller's Falls Tools, then he worked part-time for the post office after that, and then finally made the transition to the post office full-time. I was able to help with that. So the junior mailman for one summer, mostly as a placeholder, put back to take it, take it in and make it permanent. When I was a kid, I didn't fully understand how incredibly challenging it must have been for Dad and Mom to take care of and raise 10 children. I understand it now. And I really think Dad was a role model for a lot of us, how hard he worked. We had a very happy childhood. We might not have had a lot of money, but they took care of us. It was a wonderful place to grow up. We always had fields and woods to roam around in, lots of animals to take care of, cats and dogs and goats and ducks and a couple of horses for a while. I think I inherited my love of animals from Dad I've never had 6 dogs at one time. Well, it was quite a sight to see Dad walking 6 chihuahuas in the snow on the Massachusetts. Well, one thing that made it such a happy home was that we all knew how much our parents loved each other. They weren't very demonstrative about it, and I think I used to joke that I'd never actually seen them kiss. Knew how strong their marriage was. They were a role model for us, and that very happy that Dad lived on the States with the love of his life by his side. Dad, thank you for being a good man and a great father. Mom, thank you for making his life such a happy one. I have a poem I'd like to read if my voice holds out long enough. By David Harkins. You can shed tears that he's gone, or you can smile because he has lived. You can close your eyes and pray that he'll come back, or you can open your eyes and see all he's left. Your heart can be empty because you can't see him, or you can be full of the love you shared. You can turn your back on tomorrow and live yesterday, or you can be happy for tomorrow because of yesterday. You remember only that he is gone, or you can cherish his memory and let it live on. You can cry and close your mind, be empty and turn your back. Or you can do what he'd want. Smile, open your eyes, look,